It feels like a cult almost.
Yeah. You do you, man.
Hello and welcome. My name is Alex Gonzalez, and with me today is my good old friend Jay Yee.
Hey, that's me.
And please remember that we are not game devs. How are you doing today, Jay?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, doing good.
You know what? I'm doing okay. But those are not the moods we are talking about today. Today we are creating something new. Every week on We Are Not Game Devs, we imagine a brand new video game idea from our minds. Join in on the fun, be creative, and if you have your own unique video game idea or want to patch ours, write into @poundgames@gmail.com. Today is my turn to present We Are Not Game Devs 224th IP, and we're going to begin with this basic concept. It's going to be a spooky, scary game. It's going to be first person. You're going to be camping and a solo camper, and you get rained out, and you gather shelter in a cave. And from there, you get into the cave and you build a fire. Your fire goes out and you can't find the entrance and it's dark. So then you try to go deeper, or for some reason you have to go deeper because of flooding, and then spooky shit starts happening and you're trying to survive, and it's dark and you're crawling through really tight spaces and you're having to make different maneuvers while also dealing with animals. And then what you find out is maybe more occult things as time goes on. But that's a basic concept I have right now. It's trying to make a really spooky game where you're stuck in a cave and there's close spaces.
I gotcha, bro. This is what happens, right? So you are a solo camper. You've gotten to your campsite. You set up your nice little camp. This could all be playable. It's like all first person. At first, it seems like
that's the tutorial. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it teaches you kind of like how to chop your own like wood. It teaches you how to like make fire and like gather stuff, and it's all nice. And then you could have like the radio playing. It's playing like old timey like Ink Spots, like Fallout type music and stuff. And then night falls. You have your campfire going. You're just sitting there, and then it starts like dripping rain, and then it's just downpour. Whole mudslide. You get in a mudslide. You start sliding down the mountain. It's all crazy. It sucks. And then you get into the river, and then you fall down a hole. There's like a random hole in the middle of the mountain. You fall down the hole and you find yourself in a cave. It's dark, and then you just start walking and try to get out of the cave.
I think it's great. And I think like the first part, the first major one is there's going to be like a bear that chases you, and I want it to be really scary. Like similar to, if you remember,
like Limbo.
I want it to be hyper realistic though. I want it to be using,
I just mean like you just want to be chased by this bear, and then I don't think you're going to kill the bear, but it's going to be more like in Lord of the Rings, where you go into like a crack and then the bear like tries to claw at you and then can't get through the crack and then just walks off.
Right. And then you're trying to get through, and then there's certain spaces, I think, where I want there to be a breath meter. I want there to be like certain health. So, but you're not going to be that strong. You're going to have to deal with spiders getting up in your face, and you're going to have to like take them out or figure out a way. And I think eventually you can build a fire. I think there's also going to be beautiful parts of the cave where maybe there's going to be like a brief respite where there's bioluminescent like worms hanging down, where it's still going to be just a cave. But because do you know what I'm talking about? I think I saw on Planet Earth once where there are these worms that like hang using their own saliva and spit. So they're like basically these fat loogies hanging down from the cave roof, and then they glow, and then they like kind of coat themselves in their own loogie and then catch like cave dust and eat it. But they glow like blue and pink. They're beautiful.
I think I've actually seen them before. Just like glow worms in general.
Yeah. So, I could see small stuff happening like that, and ways that you can ward off different creatures and bats. I'm just trying to think of what else the threat could be, or maybe we don't do threats and maybe we just build up dread. Dread's an effective way where you just feel like something might go wrong.
I think for the most part you'll be running away, but then I would say like 25% into the game will introduce like you said, like an occult type of thing where there's like a community of people that live underground in these caves, and I don't know, they're there
Or
for some reason.
yeah, or you start seeing like pieces of body parts on stalactites or stalagmites, whichever one, or both. I don't know. I don't know which one's up, which one's down, but I could see like stuff like that where you see them like pieces being hung up and stuff of that
Yeah.
nature and getting
Maybe it's
through the
just
tunnel
that
system.
there's just a cave system that was found by this ancient peoples, and they just live there forever. And there's a steady supply of campers that fall through this hole that's in the middle of this like area that happens often enough where people wander into their domain. And maybe they're in the beginning there your player has like a newspaper, or there's a radio announcement about a warning that there's been a lot of missing peoples in the area, and be careful if you're out camping and stuff like that.
I could see that being like a newspaper that like as you're drinking your coffee on the tutorial, like on the first screen, he's like drinking his coffee and he's like, I should start the fire. And you put the newspaper down and then that's the main story.
Yeah.
As you get up.
Or you use it as like a fire starter for your fire to burn the edge of your newspaper, whatever.
Yeah, that works. That works great.
And then that introduces combat with humans, and then maybe introduce more advanced materials for like weaponry and stuff like that.
I could definitely see that. Yeah. And
but combat's not the focus. I think it's gonna be mostly sneaking around, making torches, and like sneaking in the dark
and melee, like using spears and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, to just like
quiet.
I would say like the threat of what's happening on a minute to minute gameplay would just be like I guess it would have to be, yeah, I don't know. I guess what it would be, we'd have to implement some kind of insanity measure where you have to make sure that you're in a source of light or something at certain periods and give the player indications that your character is like kind of going insane in the dark. And so you have to like find wood or like find a torch somehow.
Yeah. What if, since it's first person, the first thing you start seeing is like dots I mean, there can be an insanity meter on the UI, but then you start seeing dots and then you start hallucinating animals. And then after that, you, maybe the hallucinations grow. So you start seeing scary things in the shadows, almost the way, nothing too crazy, like where it's like an outline of a demon, but you know what I'm talking about, where, the brain can hallucinate. An example for me is if I drive in a foresty area and then I drive in the middle of the desert at night, my brain hallucinates trees, even though it's just pitch black.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean. So like as you're in the dark for so long, you'll see like, I don't know, movement in the edges of your screen, things get slithering around.
Or the brief outline of like one of those occult members or something like that coming to get you, or like sounds will start sounding different. You'll hear like skittering and stuff of that nature.
We'll play with the character's vision and sound. So like as you go more insane, things will look and sound.
And sometimes
crazier.
It's going to be like that, where you're going to be scared and things are going to happen. Because I want to do an underwater cave diving segment where you're going through like a really thin pass. So you're going to be feeling very like mentally very stressed. So there's going to be trippy things happening as you're trying to go through. And I want to do it where there's going to be different segments like that, because with underwater cave diving, you have to be very careful and steady with how you're doing it. Otherwise, if you kick up too much sand, you can't see. And if you can't see, you'll get turned around. If you get turned around, you lose air and die. Yes. I don't know why this is a hobby for anybody, but it is. And I'm interested in it. So I've heard some stories. So I know that you have to be very careful, or maybe it'd be one of those things where you can't lose the rope. For instance, because they do, underwater cave divers also establish ropes so you can pull yourself.
My biggest concern about this game is lighting.
4K baby, 8K baby. We're gonna have darks and lights. But I don't know how, unless we maybe you pick glowworms and like throw them like stones, but they stick.
I guess it would have to be you go around making torches, and that'll be your main source of light. But every once in a while, maybe there'll just be sections of the cave where there's just holes in the ceiling, and it's just like lit up naturally.
Very faint light, like very faint lights. But I'm thinking also like bioluminescence happening, just like in certain parts where glowworms are gonna highlight things, or you can collect them off the wall and put them somewhere else. And it's gonna be fictional. It's not gonna be super realistic. So those glowworms are gonna light up more.
Yeah. Okay. As long as it's not pitch black all the time, because I could feel people just getting tired of that, like watching the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. It's going to be dark in certain sections, but you can be prepared. I just want to be playing. Mostly, I want to be playing with shadows, but to be playing with shadows, there has to be light.
Yeah.
So I like this idea of going through like this big old cave system, experiencing underwater lakes, the occult, different animals, places where I think there should even be a spot where it's completely lit, but what it is like you come into an opening and it's a big crater where water's draining in from like a waterfall, and then there's no way for you to get up, but because it's like limestone from all the water, so it's all very smooth, but it's like a clearing, and then it's just like a crater where you can it'll be like roundabout, and then you'll go through more cave system. What else are we going to be doing? I think that's about it right there. You can try to maybe get saved, you'll be chased, and then eventually the way I see it is that like on the final battle, you start knocking down the cave roof until it causes a cave avalanche, and then in the end you're able to climb that rubble to freedom.
Yeah, I like that ending, but I feel like the whole goal eventually would be this community of people that live down there. If their whole community is based off of getting campers and people stuck in the cave system, then they probably have the exit blocked and like guarded. And so eventually I think you'll like start meeting more and more of the actual like residents of the cave, so more and more human interactions, more stealth based instead of like just survival based. Going through tighter corridors and actually going through like a village settlement at one point that leads up to eventually seeing the exit, some story plot happening where the leader of the tribe catches you right when you're about to leave the cave. You go through a whole like maybe even like a drug induced section of the game, and then after that, you blow up the cave stuff with like some excess.
Yeah, they're gonna force you
from a old cave system or something, and then you cave in and get out.
Right, so they're gonna force you to do like a drug section in it, where that's so Far Cry to me, where they're like, and it even happened in whatchamacallit, Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah.
That one was really over, and kind of what I want to do here, where the boss gets you and he's like, "Oh, you like that, don't you? Well, how about this? Yeah, now it's in your face. Breathe it in deep." And then they start confronting you while you're just tripping balls.
Exactly.
And then, that would be a weird, scary segment, is if they start chasing you out of the village and they're all laughing at you, and it's like a hunt, but they give you a head start.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What kind of weapons do you want in this game? I do see spears,
just basic
daggers,
stone
shivs.
weapons. Yeah, but you start off with your little utility knife that is with you.
Utility
the entire time.
knife, rocks, and then you can do traps, I'm thinking. All right. Is there music at all in this game?
I mean, I think there has to be, to make a game scary. There has to be musical cues and like sound.
Yeah,
cues
you're
and
right.
stuff like that. So,
and then you can also, because this game's going to be building dread in so many ways. Like I can think of like water dripping constantly, like in the background.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just imagine basic horse shit like synths and strings and a lot of
The right.
You know.
All right, and we already went over it. We want this game to look as great as possible. We got to make sure the blacks look black, very rich colors.
Yep. But
The
even
rocks
that
look
being
good.
said, I see this as like kind of like a discount game. So it's like gonna be in the $60-$50 range, even if it looks
Yeah,
great.
I see that because I don't want it to. I don't want it to be like, and like there's a sticker. I spent 75 hours in a cave, and all I got to show for it was a sticker.
Yeah.
But I was thinking,
like I don't foresee it being a long game.
Like 8 hours at the most, maybe. You know, you're going through.
This would be like a showcase game that comes out right when Unreal Engine 5 releases. You know, it's like
or something for big mode. Just trying to stay on topic. Do you know about big mode?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's a video game donkey is making he made a publishing company. He now publishes games. All right, Jay, time to get your timer out because we're gonna name this game.
Go.
Cave.
I feel like there's a lot of games called Cave.
There's a lot of games called The Darkness, which I also Crazy Cave. Now it sounds like a Nintendo game.
We could call it we call it Find the Light.
Find the Light's great.
Find the Light in 40 seconds.
Find the Light is a cave game where you get stuck in a cave or avoiding wildlife, the occult, and trying to keep your sanity. All right, so I think we have a game here, Jay. What do you think? Would this be a game that you'd want to play, and is it fun?
I mean, probably not. You know, I don't play horror games. I don't do very spooky games, and I probably wouldn't. I'd see that it's scary and immediately dismiss it.
I'd play it, and I would think this is gonna be the way the first Tomb Raider was when they first remade it. If you remember that game,
I love that game. I platinumed
it starts out in a cave where they chase her and try to sexually assault her in tight spaces. So I'm like, yeah, I'd give it a shot for a spooky season. I wouldn't go out of my way though. It'd be one of those games that I could play for like 3 hours and like, yes, I get it. I do not have to see this to fulfillment.
Yeah.
All right, now that we have a complete game, what game studio would you assign to make Seek the Light?
Find the Light. I like Seek the Light better though. Let's call it Seek the Light. We'll
Seek the Light best.
Red Barrels. That are the people who made Outlast. Everything we said, Outlast is done. I think they're perfect. Outlast. Have you played Outlast?
No, I haven't played Outlast.
It's you just go through a hospital, and in the second one you go through a forest, and then in their third one, Outlast 3, you go through a cave.
Oh wow!
No, they haven't invented it yet. I'm saying this is.
Outlast 3. I was like, been there, done that. Yeah, it makes sense. And Campo Santo, that'd be great if they just made a really spooky game.
I mean, they were supposed to do the one where you go through the valley, right, or whatever.
Yeah, but not called Monument Valley.
No.
And then Supermassive Games who are behind Until Dawn. I think they could do a great one of these. I think it'd be a lot more decisions. Huh?
This could be a dark picture anthology.
Yeah, we could change it where then there's like a lot more decisions to be made on how to navigate the cave, and I think that would be fun to watch. Right. It's more of a scary movie.
It'd be more like a movie than a game in that sense.
Yeah, it's slightly less participatory and more heavy on decisions there. And with that, our 224th IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience that will probably never release. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to give us extra support, please head over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. For just $1, patrons receive episodes early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which you caught the tail end of our conversation at the beginning of this episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if they ask for a review instead of reviewing our show, become your inner game critic and review Seek the Light, the video game we just created. Thank you for joining us today. We will be back next Friday with another new IP. Again, my name is AG.
And I'm JE.
Thank you, and please remember that we are not game devs.
I played a lot of games called The Cave. I think I played 2 different games called The Cave. And one of them, I think, no, it was a Tim Schafer joint. But I think it was a Tim Schafer, Ron Gilbert joint. Like, they haven't worked together in a while, and they worked on this game together for the Wii U. The problem with it was that you needed to play with friends. I might have made you play with me at one point. That was weird. Yeah, I saw that. But
thanks for validating that.
But yeah, The Cave. It was an interesting game. I wish I played more, but I needed a friend.
Yeah, hopefully I didn't invoke something, because only the light switched, the screen didn't flicker, or else I would have lost connection.
Right. Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if that happened through the whole house. Oh well. Basically, the lights turned off and on, but nothing else did. So,
yeah,
weird.
It was weird. The Cave is coming to get you.
I hope not.